For the first time, sometimes there's a bit of a point to prove, isn't there?
Normally pacing, isn't he?
It's a great dish by Boutnick to find Josh McSwiggan in the for Wolves last season. Boutnick now back to McSwiggan. Josh McSwiggan, stop, pop three! So take it through off that pick and roll. McSwiggan left wide open again. Josh McSwiggan tied. Elan just couldn't finish to kick it back out to McSwiggan. Under pressure, McSwiggan deep in the shot clock finds the...
Welcome back to Warrington Basketball. Today it is a sort of a follow-on from the journey, the last episode we had with Josh McSwiggan, probably the next chapter really in your career. Josh, how are you, mate?
Doing good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you back on. As we said, so the last we finished, for those that haven't watched it, go back and watch the journey. I think it was probably our first ever episode that we did. It was actually with Josh. Yeah, so where we left off, I think it was probably at the beginning of your sort of Le Mans season over in France. We are now at Worcester Wolves playing in the BBL. I obviously imagine that the COVID sort of played part of a bit of a reasoning. Obviously, sticking with England. I know we spoke off camera about you've got a wedding coming up and also Brexit and all so on. I'll let you sort of start. Give us a bit of feedback on how last season went with Le Mans, and then bring us up to date.
Yeah, so in Le Mans, it was it was kind of a bit of a jump from playing college basketball. It wasn't level-wise; it could have been seen as similar in some aspects, maybe talent and stuff like that. But it's just an adjustment to like the game and how that changed from a bit more athletic play and very fast pace in America to more, you'd say intelligent, very fundamental basketball in France. And so the season was up and down for our team. We had, we had a younger team compared to the others in the league. So, that comes with a lot of mistakes. And I think a lot of teams capitalize on our mistakes. So that's what led to the season being so up and down. And then, then COVID hit, it was, I think it was leading into late January, maybe early February, where they were talking about, cancelling games here and there. And that's what it kind of, played a bit of doubt in our minds towards the end of it. And then it just sort of stopped short. So we finished on a bit of, again, an up and down run. And then we got hit with the COVID. And so all in all, the season was kind of broken, with all the doubt left in our minds from the COVID situation. But personally, I felt I played well enough, from what I was expected from the team. There's always little things you can nitpick and kind of, question yourself about. But for a first season out, I thought I had a pretty solid year.
Yeah. So now, bring us a bit closer to today. Season's obviously finished, or with all the COVID stuff that's going on, you've got a couple of decisions to make, I suppose. How did the Worcester Wolves and the BBL position come about? Yeah,
so it was kind of, I've always said to myself, like, one day I'll come back to the BBL and, play a few years out here. And when you're younger, you kind of have the drive to, experience different places and all that stuff. But with the COVID situation, and then, of course, Brexit is going to play a big part, and especially UK basketball players playing overseas, because we'll be classified under different rules similar to the US guys, so that we'll be classified as imports and stuff. So with that, that situation, with the possibility of more lockdowns and stuff, so I decided to stay in the UK this year. And Worcester have a great program. They won the trophy last year, and they have a lot of high hopes of moving forward. And so that came about, and especially with I'm getting married in the summer, so that all sort of played a combined factor to my decision to stay in the BBL and play for Worcester.
Yeah. And how are you finding it? What's the difference like to last season?
I think it's a step up, as in, like, it's a different style of play again, but it's a bit more of a combination of the US game and the French game. I think physicality level is, or what the referees will let you get away with, is a little less than it has been from last year.
Yeah.
But it's more of a combination of, athletic players, but also it has a very good combination of smart players as well. So I think it's kind of the best of both worlds at the moment, and it's a good league to sort of establish yourself early as a younger player, and then to move forward in the European basketball ranks.
Yeah, from the games I've watched, the referees seem pretty harsh, I think.
I've been unfortunately on the wrong end of some of the referees' calls, but it's about adjusting to the style of play. A lot of the time it's my own fault for maybe not understanding how they're going to call the game and what things you can get away with and what you can't get away with. So that's where the veteran players, will get a little more than you'd think they'd get. But it's been an interesting start, and I think we're a young team again, but we have a lot of talent, and we've got a great style of play that can take us far in this league.
Yeah. How do you think the level of the BBL's sort of changed from when, obviously back in the day before you went to the States? Obviously, I know you had a lot to do with it. So how do you think it's sort of changed from then? I
think it's changing in a sense that it's become more respectable. I think in the past, unfortunately, it's been seen as a second-hand sport that in the UK it's known for football, but I think the growth that it's shown has really allowed for more players and more high caliber players to come into the league, and especially this year there's a lot of high caliber players brought into the league, and I think throughout that it'll continue to grow. And of course the COVID situation hasn't helped, but I think with more time, I think it'll be a great league for young players to aspire to play in.
Yeah. What do you think of the government, and when COVID first hit, and obviously everything that's happened? Obviously basketball's kind of been got a bit of the rough end of everything. Give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's it's kind of as a young player who played here, and you kind of see the attitude that the government has towards basketball as a sport, and I think that's it's frustrating how they've dealt with the situation, especially even now after the league's grown so much. To shows that we've still got a long way to go to to compete with the football, which is of course the main sport in the UK, but like rugby got a little bit more funding than us, and then there's other things that are getting a lot more funding from the government. So it shows that we've got a long way to go, but we've got to sort of break the narrative of the good young British players having to leave the country to really make something of themselves. And I think we've got to break that narrative and give kids incentive to play in the BBL once they've turned 18 or whatever they want, but give that that passion back to British basketball.
Yeah. So obviously plans. What's the targets for this season then? So with Whistle Wolves, what are you aiming for? What are your goals?
Mainly team goals. I've had, like I said, last year was an up and down year, and we went on some win streaks, we went on some losing streaks, and so I think the main thing is to win. I think that's the only thing I have on mind. I think all the players on the team have the same sort of goals to achieve. They want to win, and all those things come in hand. Individual accolades will come through team accolades, and silverware is the main thing. Unfortunately, we didn't quite make it through the BBL Cup stages. I think we were right there in all the games, but we got we have a long way to go, but there's still the league and the BBL trophy to compete in, and I think silverware is the big end goal for us at the end of the year.
Yeah. What's it like now being back home and being able to go back, see mum, dad, see brother? Is that a lot?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that, or do you quite like being away and just focusing on your basketball?
Yeah, originally I loved being away, especially in America. But over time you don't really see the homesickness sort of setting in. But it's been such a refreshing feel because being away, especially in France last year, the social aspect, there was no switching off from basketball.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's good for players to be able to switch off sometimes, to really reset their minds, rather than, if they have a bad game, they can they sit on that for a long time. So for me personally, I found it really refreshing just to be able to, see family when I've needed to see them, and see friends that I haven't seen in 5-6 years. And it's really a nice thing to be able to do that.
What's your day to day like then with Worcester Wolves now? Is it massively different to what you've had in the past?
It's very different than it was last year. When I was in, it's very similar to America, just the style. We have morning practices, and we start off from day to day probably at about 9 o'clock and finish just after 11, before 12. But then in between, and then we have a evening practice from about 4 till 6, and then in between it's kind of look after your body and of course get your food in, get some sleep in when you can. So really, your days just like fly by, and at the moment because I'm not far away from Worcester, I'm getting the trains in, so I leave a little earlier than you would necessarily have to if you were living in Worcester. So the days just feel like they're flying by from first thing in the morning and to the last thing at night. And of course, with the daylight the light throughout the day, I feel like I leave when it's dark, come back when it's dark, and you say it every year, but it never really sinks in.
Yeah. So what if, I suppose it's difficult to sort of plan out your sort of future plans with everything that's going on, but what are the sort of long-term goals?
I think, from day to day, if we're talking on short term, just there's a saying I always had in college is just get 1% better every day. Mm-hmm. And but long term goals, I'd love to continue on playing basketball for as long as I can. But realistically, your body isn't gonna hold up forever. So I think the main thing is just appreciate playing basketball now, and especially during the times that we're in, it's hard to come by, that opportunity to play. So I think that's the main thing. Continue loving basketball, and in the future, if it takes me to more countries and more opportunities, then I'd love that. And but just continue on.
Yeah, you're only 25 though, aren't you?
Yeah, 25. I've got a little while left.
Exactly, you've got loads of time, loads of gas left in the tank. Josh, it's been a pleasure, mate. Is there anything you'd like to add for those that are watching?
Yeah, especially for the younger kids that love basketball, is the main thing. I know we're all going through a difficult time, but it will pass by, and we will continue on, and basketball will always continue on. So the main thing is just to whatever chances anyone gets to play, just play and love the game. That's the main thing. Like, enjoy play and enjoy the opportunities that you get, and then once things ease up with the COVID situation, then we'll all be back playing again, and you'll really see that true love for basketball again.
Brilliant. We like that attitude. Josh, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's a pleasure as always.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Top man. Thank you.